Mayor Wilson. All right. Recording in progress, so I think we can get started. So this takes me back, right? We haven't done a large group meeting like this with everyone remote in a while, but I did a lot of regional growth committee meetings this way. We all had a lot of meetings this way. So welcome. This is an electronic meeting of the Wasatch Front Regional Council. Today is October 24th, 2024. It is 1:30. We started at 1:32 p.m. And since we are all joining online this morning, I'm going to ask us, we're each going to introduce ourselves. We've got some new folks here with us. And so I'm Dawn Ramsey. I serve as mayor of the city of South Jordan and chair of the Wasatch Front Regional Council. And the order you are on my screen is the order I'm just going to call on you. And I'm just going to say 3 names at a time and say, hey, just real quick, tell us who you are and who you serve with. So in order, Ben, Mayor Dandoy, and Gruber. That's how you come up. So Ben Withridge. Oh, now Ben disappeared and I have Mayor Nadolski there. Well, we're going to get through all of you one way or another.
I'm here.
Okay. Mayor Nadolski, let's start with you.
Mayor Nadolski, I'm here. Just barely got logged in. Sorry.
Okay. This is Bob Dandoy, Roy City Mayor. Thank you.
Ben Withridge, go ahead.
Sorry, Ben Withridge, Wasatch Front Regional Council staff, short range planning.
And I'm Andrew Gruber. I'm executive director of WFRC. Good to see you all.
Thank you. Silvestrini, Braceras, and Johnner. We'll have you guys go. We have some similar first names, so I'm just going to say your last names.
Okay, so my first name is similar to everybody else's, I guess. Jeff Silvestrini. I'm mayor of Mill Creek.
Carlos Braceras, Utah Department of Transportation.
Dory Johnner, WFRC Long Range Planning Director.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey, Mayor Petro. Let's see, Hatterley. Okay, let's go that way. Harvey, Petro, Hatterley.
Jim Harvey, Weber County Commission. Also, I guess another name, Rosie. I couldn't, never mind, sorry.
How do I follow that one? Mayor Rosie Cheeks.
I'm John Hatterley, partner at Larson & Company, just the external auditor.
Great, thanks. All right, Mayor, let's see. Ted, let's go Knowlton, Mayor Wilson, and then Mayor Burton.
Good afternoon, Ted Knowlton, Deputy Director here at WFRC.
Jenny Wilson, Salt Lake County Mayor, happy to be here.
Dirk Burton, we're Mayor of West Jordan. And my question is, do people that drive electric cars, do they listen to AC/DC or something current?
Well, I'll never be as cool as Mayor Burton ever. Yeah, he always has the good stuff. That's good. Thanks. Okay. Mayor Lang, Mayor Zoltansky, and then Ari Bruning.
Mayor Lang, West Valley City.
Hi, Mayor Zoltansky, Sandy City.
Ari Bruning in Envision Utah. First name works for me. I don't think there's anyone else than Ari.
Right. Fair. All right. Dan Dugan, Ben Hewitt, and Cal Musselman.
Dan Dugan, Salt Lake City Council.
Ben Hewitt with UDOT.
Cal Musselman, I guess the legislator formerly known as Representative Musselman. I'm not yet senator. I'm lost between two worlds, and nobody cares about me in the House, and nobody was yet to accept me in the Senate. So I don't even know if I have any authority whatsoever.
Well, Mr. Musselman, we're glad you're here.
There you go. That's probably the best way to do it.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. All right, Mayor Wim, Commissioner Perry, and then Commissioner Froer.
Debbie Wynn, Tooele City Mayor.
Lee Perry, Box Cutter County Commissioner.
Gage Froer, Weber County Commission.
Thank you. Mayor Tran, and then Marion Florence. And we're going to do 2 this time because that's where my screen ends. So we'll go to the next page in a second.
Tammy Tran, Keysville City Mayor.
Marion Florence, WFRC Finance.
Thank you. Well, I turn to the next page and many of you are still on it. So bear with me as we go back to the old days. Mayor Burke, and then Ryan Beck, and then Mayor Palmer.
Roger Burke, Mayor of beautiful Alta.
Ryan Beck with Envision Utah.
Mayor Palmer and Harriman.
Thank you. Councilmember Winder Newton, Mark Shepard, and then Marcia White.
Hi, Amy Winder Newton, Salt Lake County Council.
Mark Shepard, Andrew Gruber Fan Club.
How am I supposed to follow that, Mayor? Marcia White, WFRC.
Okay, the next one, she's going to do all on her own because I'm not going to use the last name because it's the first time she's ever been introduced in this meeting with this last name. So Meg, we'll have you go next and we'll let you introduce yourself with your new official name.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for the reminder because I keep forgetting my last name. Meg Pageant, Community and Economic Development, WFRC.
Awesome. Thank you. And again, congratulations. Okay, I think technology has taken a step backwards because it just did a jump and I lost Meg altogether. I don't even see you on my screen anymore. So bear with me as I scroll through and see who it moved where. Let's go with, okay, let's go with Jordan Chandler, Andrea Pearson, and Dave Mon in that order.
Jordan Chandler with WFRC staff.
Andrea Pearson, WFRC staff.
Dave Mon, Mayor of Syracuse.
Thank you. All right, we had another jump. I'm just going through to see where I'm at. WFRC Golden Spoke, whoever that person is.
Andrew, you're muted, but Andrew's
That's
there.
us that's us together on the
That's
staff.
the main one. Got it. Okay. Let's do Christy and then Matt Ryan and then Julie Bjornstad.
I'm Chrissy Dahlberg with the WFRC Staff Community and Economic Development Group.
I'm Matt Ryan, Community Planner with our Community Economic Development Group at WFRC.
Julie Bjornstad, Senior Transportation Planner in our Long Range Planning Group at WFRC.
Awesome. Thank you. Ryan Beck, you're moving all over my computer screen. I don't know why it's hopping around, but people are getting shuffled like I have never seen before. I don't think we've heard from you, have we?
You have, but Ryan Beck, Envision
You did?
Utah.
Okay.
Double coverage. Double coverage.
I'm back and forth. You were on my list and then you've moved. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay. Is there anyone who has joined? Let me go back to now what page 1 looks like that I've missed.
Did Mayor Palmer introduce himself? He did. Okay, sorry.
He said Mayor Palmer and
I'll stop trying to do that then.
Okay. Christy, did we get you? Okay. All right. If we missed anyone, we apologize. Speak now or don't. We love you anyway. We love you anyway. If we missed you, sorry. Okay.
Mayor Ramsey, can I just also note to you, we do have several other folks that are members of the public and some of our partners that are joining us and they're in attendee mode, but we welcome all of them as well.
Absolutely. I can't see your names. I can't see, but we welcome you. We appreciate that you're here. I'll work on that. Maybe I'll be able to. I'll look at it, but thank you for being here. We welcome all of you here. All right, we're going to move along. Our first item on our consent agenda is an action item. The minutes from the meeting held August 22nd, 2024, the financial statement and check registers for July and August of this year, and the budget expenditure reports to date have been sent out for review. Are there any amendments to those, or is there a motion to approve the minutes from August 22nd, the financial statements and check register for July and August, and the budget expenditure reports to date?
Move to approve, Mayor Shepard.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Shepard, second Dan Dugan.
Yes.
All right, any discussion to that? I'm going to go back and forth between the pages. All right, seeing none, all in favor, please unmute and say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Passes. All right. For the chair report today, first of all, thank you for joining us virtually. We made a deliberate decision to do it this way this time. We wanted to save folks some time. This is a really busy time. It's always a busy time. I don't know any of you on here that aren't busy all the time, but we wanted to be able to save some commute time for everyone. And so making this an electronic meeting to shorten up the time commitment today, we appreciate you being here. And we also were thinking, we're asking for your time at our Wasatch Choice workshops. So there was some chatter about that. We're looking forward to Jory singing. Can't wait for that. He'll be singing for us here in Salt Lake County on Monday, it sounds like. Anyway, we want to encourage you to go to those. And so that was another part of why we thought, well, let's save everyone some time today, and hopefully they'll be able to make some time to make sure they attend the Wasatch Choice Vision Workshop in person. Those workshops, they're so good, and they're just a really valuable opportunity to share transportation and land use thoughts and insights. And we hope you'll make it. Just a reminder, the one we're doing in Salt Lake County is Monday. We're looking really forward to it Monday afternoon, but there's 10 of them going on. They're all over. You'll all have one near you, and they're probably already on your calendars. I'm pretty sure they are, but if you have any questions, WFRC staff can let you know for sure when yours is.
And Mayor, can I just quick note, we've had 2 so far, and there's 6 coming up. 3 of them are next week. Ted will cover that in just a little bit. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we also, this is our last, it's weird that this is our last meeting of the year. I mean, I don't even know what's happening. How is this the end of 2024? It's going fast. Anyway, Mr. Musselman, I mean, Cal, what do you want me to call you? I'm going to call you Representative Musselman, not yet Senator Musselman. I could call you brother. I mean, you name it. There's titles for you, but we appreciate you very much being here. And we, as you prepare to kind of transition roles, we just appreciate your leadership and your being part of this, and wondered if you had anything you'd like to share as your last meeting as Representative Musselman here representing the House at WFRC.
Well, you know, I wish things were different, I suppose. I don't know how things will land over the next year or so, but I would like to have been serving for longer than a year. Just how things kind of landed. I felt like I was just barely getting a sense of how things worked, although I did advocate as best that I could. And I think that we accomplished some things that were good. And I certainly learned to appreciate Andrew and his dedication and sheer attention to detail on some legislation that we drafted and he helped with, and his relationships with other legislators and as well as lobbyists and those in the transportation industry. It was really exceptional. And so I just want to express my gratitude for the relationship I developed with Andrew and the opportunity to even learn how, for me, it's been a learning experience. And I recognize you guys all understand that, that I had, you know, some limited abilities, and was learning, but I hope that some way in the future that I can participate again. We'll see how that goes. But I'm thankful. And, you know, there's so much information. It's, you know, being in the legislature is like drinking from a fire hose all the time. But as it pertains to transportation, it's mind-bogglingly complicated and so many points of input. And for you guys to work together like you do was, I think, is an exceptional testament to the Utah way, like, if I might. So, yeah, I appreciate it. And thanks for allowing me a second to express that appreciation.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you for being part of this with us for the last year. And we know that with changes in your future and your leadership opportunities, that the House will have to appoint someone else. But we also know this is not the end of the work that we'll get to do with you. And we appreciate that. Thank you for your willingness to step up and to serve the people of Utah and to be part of the great work that this very collaborative body. I love that you called it the Utah way. That's what we do, right? It is what we do. It's what we're all proud of. And this is quite a diverse group from across the Wasatch Front, representing, I don't know, between 80 and 85% of the state's population, really trying to make sure we get this right. So we appreciate you being part of it and look forward to more work with you in the future.
Well, thank you, Mayor. You've been exceptional at chairing and get right to business. And I think you've done a great job. So thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, item 2A, nominating committee. It is that time. I can't believe it's that time of year. The WFRC bylaws state that every 2 years, the even-numbered years, the chair appoints a nominating committee to identify and nominate council chair and vice chair. The nominating committee also makes recommendations for the other committee chairs and vice chairs, and it's time. The time has come to take that action for the 25-26 council. The nominating committee will include one representative from each of the 6 WFRC counties. And in January, the council will vote to elect a chair and vice chair for the next 2-year term. So today I am thrilled to be able to get my list right here, make sure I have the right list. I'm thrilled to be able to appoint a nominating committee comprised of Councilmember Wardle from Tooele County,
Commissioner Newton from Morgan County, Mayor Dandoy from Weber County, Commissioner Perry from Box Elder County, Mayor Petro from Davis County, and Mayor Silvestrini from Salt Lake County. So the bylaws say this isn't an action item of the council, but I would love any feedback. Anybody has any questions or any feedback, and anything you'd like to share or pipe up about this, just go ahead and unmute and chime in. No?
Thank you for appointing us.
Well, thank you for your willingness to serve. Everyone here is, as we've said, busy, and every one of us here gets asked to take on extra things, and this is an extra thing that will take extra time, but it's an important thing. And so thank you to each of you for being willing to do it. And unless anybody on here is like, that is the worst idea ever, we know it's not the worst idea ever. So unless anybody has any strong feelings otherwise, we're going to proceed and just say thank you in advance to the nominating committee for the work that you'll be doing and the time you'll be putting in. Thank you. All right, next is our public comment period. This is a time when we appreciate the chance to hear from members of the public on items concerning the Wasatch Front Regional Council and the purview that we have, keeping in mind it's not as broad as some people think it is. It's not, but we really are grateful, and we always want to be collaborative with the members of the public because that's who we're trying to represent and get right. So I am looking to see, I don't know, I'm going to have to rely on Andrea as the administrator over this to see. Andrea, are there any members of the public that you can see that would like to speak?
Yes, so far there are 2 people that I will give permissions to speak. And if you want, just raise your hand and I will get to you in turn.
Yeah, thank you. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand. Andrea will know, we'll be able to call on you and give you the floor, and everyone's invited to take 3 minutes and just go ahead and address the council. We're not going to solve all the solutions here during this, but we'd love to hear from you. So with that, it looks like Anthony Tobler. I would ask that you turn on your camera and let us know who we're talking to. We'd love to hear from you.
Hi, let's see, my camera. I'm not sure how to do that right now, but I just wanted to show my support for the citizen proposed Rio Grande plan. I really can't stress enough how much I think it's a literally once in a lifetime opportunity with benefits that would elevate the entire region for decades. So that being said, often the only thing we hear about is the cost. And I get that. In fact, I very much appreciate leaders who work to keep costs low. It keeps, our government balanced and responsible. So I thank you for that. Obviously, however, at some point we need to be open-minded and honest enough to realize when a specific plan makes sense to invest in. And the Rio Grande plan is clearly worth the investment. Currently, many regional leaders support a $4 billion plan to widen a section of freeway. And if you truly believe that's a worthy investment, then that's fine. I trust your judgment on that. But let's be honest, if adding an extra lane of freeway is worth the cost, then the Rio Grande plan is definitely worth its cost. It provides way more benefits, way more varied benefits, and way longer lasting benefits. And all those benefits could actually cost less to Utah taxpayers than the freeway widening for a couple reasons. First, there's currently billions of dollars in federal money available for projects just like the Rio Grande plan. So if we take advantage of that now, the cost would drop significantly. Second, the Rio Grande plan would open up 75 acres of very valuable land for redevelopment. The economic benefits of this could pay for itself in just a few years, which is exactly what happened in Denver when they invested in a similar plan. So I understand the initial concerns, the initial questions, they're valid. But that's the answer. To those who ask the questions about cost, that's the answer. We can do this. More wide-reaching and longer-lasting benefits for less cost to Utah taxpayers equals a plan that makes total sense. So just to wrap up, I just ask everyone in the council to please work to make this a reality. Let's at least start by getting an economic impact study done. Especially leading up to the Olympics, especially leading up to the growth we're expecting as a region. we can't afford to miss this truly once in a lifetime opportunity. Thank you.
Anthony, thank you. We appreciate you being here. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Oscar.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, my video is also, I can't see how to turn that on, but my name's Oscar Arvizu. I've been a Salt Lake City resident for over 25 years. And like Anthony, I'm here to urge the support for the Rio Grande plan and to look into that a little bit further. The Rio Grande plan would spur economic development, especially around track stations, increase ridership, and reduce traffic across the valley. It could also serve as a cornerstone for future expansion, better connecting East and West Salt Lake City, and we all know we need that, while supporting critical projects like the Green Loop, the Downtown Revitalization Zone, and the station area plans all throughout the Wasatch Front. It would also reduce air pollution and move us closer to making Salt Lake City a truly walkable city, which I know they talk about that quite a bit in city council meetings. This project would also help eliminate overpasses, grade crossings, rail yards, improving safety, reducing congestion, and opening 75 acres or plus of land ready for development for housing, parks, recreation, and retail. Every city transportation and legislative meeting I've attended points to the need for a central hub that connects all future plans and initiatives, including high-speed rail. If we really want that to be a reality, we really need to look into this kind of a thing. And the hub for this is a Rio Grande plan. It's something that the city, the valley, and our environment need to thrive as we grow. Please support the Rio Grande plan, and thank you for your time.
Oscar, thank you. Thank you for your thoughts and your time. We appreciate you. Is there anyone else? Andrea, I don't see anyone else with their hand up, but I'll defer to you.
I don't see anyone else. Thank you.
Okay. If not, we'll close the public comment period, and I'm going to turn to Andrew Gruber, just because Anthony and Oscar both presented some really compelling information, and I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on kind of where things are at as far as what's even happening with the Rio Grande plan and what role WFRC may or may not even have as part of that decision or the plan. So Gruber, Mr. Gruber, if you could just kind of talk about that a little bit and just give a brief update.
Thank you, Mayor Ramsey. I don't get called Mr. Gruber very
I don't call you that ever, but I'm like, I feel like I ought to be a little more formal, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It makes me feel real. So thank you so much. Yeah, and I also want to echo appreciation for the community residents who are raising the idea of the Rio Grande plan. Some of you know that they've been working on it really, really hard, and they're very engaged, and we welcome the input and the feedback at our meetings and elsewhere. And just to remind everybody, the basic concept contemplated here is to bury the rail lines in downtown Salt Lake City, just west of the WFRC office, and that would be the Union Pacific rail lines and the UTA rail lines. And that idea is an exciting aspiration, and also, as was noted, a rather expensive and rather complicated proposal. So that concept is being evaluated. In fact, right now, we are kicking off an analysis under what's called the Reconnecting Communities Program. Salt Lake City received a grant of close to $3 million from the federal government that came through UDOT to do analysis of east-west connectivity more broadly than just in the downtown area around the Rio Grande station, but actually for the majority of the north-south reach of Salt Lake City, how to achieve optimal east-west mobility when considering costs and feasibility as well. And that Rio Grande plan concept will be one of the items that's evaluated as part of that larger analysis. And that analysis is being done jointly by Salt Lake City, UDOT, UTA, WFRC, the county's involved. I mean, lots of stakeholders will be involved in that. So further work on these concepts is moving forward to evaluate them.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that. I hope that's just helpful information for an update about where this is at, because not everyone lives necessarily close enough to this that maybe you're aware of where it's at. So just wanted to let you know. Thank you. All right, item 4 on our agenda, our Regional Growth Committee. We appreciate Mayor Bob Dandoy chairing that, and he's got a report for us. So Mayor Dandoy, we'll turn it to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a great and informative Regional Growth Committee the last couple of weeks. In it, we talked through some of the details of how the Wasatch Choice Vision update will occur both in the transportation improvements in the vision, as well as the land use vision. I'm going to invite Ted Knowlton to share a short overview of that during discussion. In it, he's going to touch on some new growth visualization tools that we highlighted and what to expect from the Wasatch Choice Visions workshops that have, just as it was indicated earlier, began. Ted, if you'd like to go ahead and lead off, thank you.
Mayor Dandoy, thanks so much, and good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully you can see my screen. Let me know if you cannot. Brief touch on two things that we talked about at the Regional Growth Committee: the approach to these upcoming workshops, which we're excited about and are underway, and then again, resources to support the question of our future land development pattern. So the first one, the workshops, we love these workshops. We get out, we visit with communities, we hear from them about their thoughts and ideas on both transportation, land use, and the coordination of those, which is really at the heart of the Wasatch Choice Vision. You'll see on the left there that this is this, I think, that this is bringing together local elected officials, key local staff, UDOT, UTA, so many others in this really interesting conversation that we really think is probably the only thing like it around the region where communities have that interaction among themselves as a community, but also the ability to interact with other communities. Mayor Ramsey and Andrew mentioned that we are in progress on that. We have our next one is on Monday in South Jordan. And then we have on the 29th in Farmington, and on the 30th on into northern Salt Lake County, pardon me, South Weber. And we are working out the details also to do workshops in Morgan and Tooele County as well. Just wanted to mention that. We love these and hope you can attend. There's two major things that we're doing at the workshops. One is exploring together the update to the Wasatch Choice Centers and other land uses. And the other is to explore our transportation aspirations. This is very much kind of an exploratory kind of workshop. It doesn't start from scratch. Rather, we start from where we have our current Wasatch Choice Vision, our regional transportation plan, the centers that each community has agreed to and talked about in the future, and their other land uses like key industrial areas and the like. So we start from there, and then we move on into a conversation of what to modify. This came from our Regional Growth Committee meeting last week. They gave us direction as staff about the kind of tools and resources that we use in these workshops. And you can see, people will explore these kinds of land uses on the left, these kinds of transportation improvements on the right. They do not need to be limited by this material, but it helps sort of organize the conversation. And so we very much look forward to seeing you at those workshops. We really love them. Now, one of the things that's highlighted in the workshops, and then will also be released in the coming weeks as well, we have new resources to kind of help communities as they think about, well, what's our vision for land use looking forward? There's lots of different land use types that are in the Wasatch Choice Vision. You can see these. We have metro, urban, city centers, neighborhood centers. There's centers, there's employment districts, industrial, residential areas, parks and public spaces. The left side of that, it's a touch more complicated. A mix of uses tends to be in places where there's infill and redevelopment. So to help support the question, that exploration of centers, we've developed brand new digital models. So this is a model where we can zoom in, we can look at any different angle, and there's a different model, or actually 2 or 3 different models for each of those center types. The value of this is that we can highlight how do you make this happen? How do you implement it? And also, what does it mean in terms of infrastructure needs, costs, expenses, benefits? We can tie the model to an understanding of implications, fiscal and environmental and transportation. So we're very excited about this. Just to give you a sense of this, here's one angle of a model. We can zoom in and look at different other patterns, make it beautiful with a watercolor kind of treatment. This is a neighborhood center, the lowest of the intensity of the Wasatch Choice Centers. And then, we can also do this likewise with the city center, urban center, and metro centers as well. And this is just intended to be a helpful resource as communities explore the framework land uses that they want to put forward as part of the Wasatch Choice vision, which is, again, thinking through kind of high level, what are those framework pieces for transportation, land use, how do they work together to help us preserve our quality of life as we move forward, as we continue to grow. And again, because they're digital models, we can also understand, well, what are the implications of them for, you can see the top line, transportation impacts, biking, walking, transit use, driving distances, property and sales tax per acre, street and utility costs per unit, indoor and outdoor water use per unit, so that we're making informed decisions as we think about how we want to handle both land development questions and also how those interrelate with transportation infrastructure ideas as well. So Mayor Dandoy, that's my report. I hope it wasn't too long, but those are some of the, like a quick version of some of the things we did a deep dive on a couple of weeks ago at the Regional Growth Committee.
Great, Ted, thank you. Excellent presentation. Madam Chair, before I turn that back over to you, I think you can really start to see the value, particularly these models bring, to us. But equally important, I believe these kind of models can really go a long way to help the public as we're now carrying a message, about what we see the vision of the future to be, particularly in our cities, certainly within our counties. I think these visual representations can be very powerful in providing what I think a clear picture of our ambitions and aspirations in terms of where we go from here. So we're excited about where this is taking us. We're excited the opportunities it provides, and more importantly, excited how we can now share these opportunities with our public. And that's the message we'd like to share with you. And I turn the time back over to you.
Mayor, thank you. Thank you so much. And Ted, thank you too. Everyone involved with Regional Growth Committee, thank you. Well done. All right, item 5, we have our Transportation Coordinating Committee. We appreciate Mayor Mark Shepard chairing that. We're going to turn the time to you.
Well, thank you, Madam Chairman. We've got one action item on the agenda today. It's item 5A, and it's a board modification to the 2025-2030 TIP, Transportation Improvement Program. And I'm going to turn the time over to Ben Withrich to discuss these modifications.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor. Hopefully my screen's showing the right screen, but this is a pretty exciting opportunity here. This is our first board modification for the 2025-2030 Transportation Improvement Program since it was approved by this body back in August. As a reminder there, the Transportation Improvement Program helps us implement the long-range plans. The highway transit and active transportation helps us meet the short-range needs of our area, as well as the maintenance necessary for our existing system. Today, as Mayor Shepard indicated, we do have one item of board modification before you today. In your meeting materials, you'll have the tables, and those tables will identify the projects. And we'll go through each of these projects for your review prior to approval. So our first project that we have before us today is a project in Salt Lake County. This is a project on I-215 from SR 201 to North Temple. The original scope of this project was to reconstruct the pavement of I-215 from SR 201 to North Temple. But as the department looked at the project or the facility and identified things that needed to be done, there was a need to expand the scope on this project as well as bring in additional funds. Part of the scope included the rubblization of the existing concrete pavement and then adding 5.5 inches of asphalt. The exciting part there, so on the facility there, this is quite a strategic and an amazing way the department is utilizing the resources that we have. But they take this big machine, we'll call it a rubblizer, but the rubblizer goes through and it crushes up all the concrete, smashes it all up, and then they come through with the roller and they compact it all down to minimize the voids, compact it in there, and then they bring the asphalt in, they lay new asphalt on top of that, and then they roll the asphalt, and then the road's ready to go. So a great strategic way the department has to minimize impacts to the public and take advantage and improve our system. But in addition to that, and this is just one location in this project, this is actually I-80, which is between 201 and North Temple. But if you look there, you can see all of the bridges and all the ramps. There's also a need there to take care of bridges. That would be bridge decks and hydro demo on 5 other bridges and pothole patching. You can see some of the surfaces that are on I-215 at this area. In addition to that, they're putting ramp meters on California Avenue there, the interchange, as well as addressing the structures for the overhead signs on I-215. So a lot of work on a facility that's lived well its life and needs to be improved. The additional funding for this project is $120 million, giving us a total project funding amount of $190 million. The next project we have to look at is also in Salt Lake County. This is on 90th South, or SR 209, and this runs between 4800 West to Prosperity Road. As the original scope was to remove and replace 1.5 inches of asphalt between Prosperity Road and 4800 West, and as the department was out looking at or inspecting the pavement there, it was revealed that the adjacent section between Prosperity Road and SR 111, it needed some treatment right now as well. And so the department is asking that we have a scope change on this project that would extend the limits from 4800 down to SR 111. The additional funds for this project is 1.9+ million, giving us a total project cost of 4.7+ million. The next project we have to look at is in Salt Lake County. This is on the Mountain View corridor. This is between the Porter Rockwell Boulevard to 134th South. This section of pavement on the Mountain View between these two facilities deteriorated quicker than the pavement life cycle anticipated. This project will remove and replace 1.5 inches of asphalt. This project is new to the program. It's estimated to cost $5.8 million, and that's the request for the Mountain View corridor in this area. The next project that we have to look at is also in Salt Lake County. This is on the Porter Rockwell Boulevard project between Harmon Day Drive and 146 South. This is a pavement rehabilitation project. This facility here has experienced an increase of traffic, which has accelerated the original pavement treatment plan. So this project will also remove and replace 1.5 inches of asphalt. This project's estimated to cost 2.2+ million, and that's a request for the Porter Rockwell Boulevard. That brings us to the next table, which identifies 5 more projects.
Hey, Ben.
Yes.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, if I might just interrupt, because Carlton Christensen asked a question. Carlton, you want to ask your own question in the chat?
Sure. I did back on the first project for I-215, where they're removing concrete. The only question I had is that asphalt capable of carrying the amount of traffic and weight that's on that section of freeway, or is this more off to the side?
Yes, the short answer to that is Yes, it is, but we do have representation from UDOT if they would like to address that.
I guess I'll just say generally, yeah, any of the pavement designs we do on those types of roadways, whether they're concrete or asphalt, they go through and look at the traffic volumes and do all the equivalent axle load calculations in those pavement designs. So if we do put, concrete or asphalt on a freeway, then the pavement design is for that traffic.
With that. Okay, I just noticed that the traffic through that section has really gone up a lot over the last couple of years. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Ben. That was another reason I didn't respond in roll call. There were 3 Bens, and I was the third lowest of the 3, so I didn't want to interrupt.
I realized that after I said
Ben.
it. You were the one I meant first, and then I went, wait, we got also. That's why I went to last names. That's why I'm like, okay, well, this isn't going to work. So thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Madam Chair. So the next project that we have on the top of the list is actually a request from UTA. This is a project where UTA has obtained a grant for community project funding, which was formerly known as an earmark. And this was for the 5600 West Belt Route, or bus route, sorry. The West Side Express will provide a 1-seat transit ride for residents living along 5600 West, all the way up to the airport, downtown Salt Lake, and other regional job centers. This particular grants for community project funding, are grants that are appropriated and allocated from the general fund for transportation infrastructure. And the recipients and the allocations, they are determined by Congress, and all of the recipients are specifically identified in the Appropriation Act. So this request here is to acknowledge or recognize that UTA has received a CPF grant for a total amount of $3.5 million. They have a local match of $840,000. So it gives this project funding $4.3+ million towards the total estimated project cost of $76+ million. The next project is also
Mayor Burton, you have a comment on that project?
Yes. Woohoo! We need this so bad.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor. The next project we have is also a request from UTA. This is for high-powered en-route electric chargers, which will enable the electric buses to be deployed in more areas without the concerns of a bus running out of charge. These funds will be complemented with the funding from WFRC that you have programmed in the past for other locations. And the installation there will most likely be up around Research Park to support the electric buses that UTA plans to do for the Davis Salt Lake Community Connector. I'm a little behind punching the button. So we have $2 million of the CPF funds with the local match of $500,000. So it gives this project $2.5 million. And for an item of information, each charger is estimated to cost about $1.5 million. The next project that we have is
Mayor Ramsey, I see that Trustee Holbrook has her hand raised.
I do. And in the words of Mayor Burton, woohoo! Thank you.
Perfect. The next project is a request from Salt Lake. This is a UTA. This is for 25 compressed natural gas or CNG buses. UTA was successful and they obtained a no emissions federal funds for these 25 CNG buses, and they will replace worn out, tired diesel buses that have long lived their life. The CNG buses reduce harmful emissions, including greenhouse gas emissions, They promote energy independence, and they have about a minimum life of about 12 years. So this particular project brings the $17+ million in the low-no grant funds, requiring a local match of a little more than $3 million, gives us a total estimated cost of $20+ million for 25 compressed natural gas buses. The next request is also a request from UTA. This is a request for 15 battery electric buses. This is also where UTA was successful in obtaining a low-no emissions federal grant for these 15 electric buses. These buses, I just hit on my notes. These buses will replace existing diesel buses that are also worn out. They've met their useful life. They will more than likely be stationed at the Meadowbrook facility in South Salt Lake and also the Mount Ogden facility up in the Ogden area. This type of bus has zero emissions, which will help reduce harmful emissions, such as PM10, PM2.5, and ozone. They're a high energy efficient and will enhance the ridership, the rider experience, the ridership experience. And they have a minimum life also of about 12 years. So this project received $18+ million in the low-no grant, requiring a $3.3+ million in local funds, giving us a total estimated cost of $21+ million. The next project we'll look at is a project up in Weber, Morgan, and Summit. This is on I-84. This is the Uinta Junction to Echo Bridge Railroad. In fiscal year 2024, yes.
And I'm sorry, I appear to be playing the role of making sure people who have questions get their questions or woo-hoos in. And I see Mayor Zoltansky has her hand raised. Mayor?
Thank you. I'm really excited to see the investment in the electric bus fleet. Will any of these buses service the canyons either in winter or summer months? Or are these just for kind of the urban Salt Lake area?
You want me to answer that, Andrew? No, none of these would go up the canyons. We've done a little bit of testing of electric buses in the canyon, but we're not comfortable in their ability because they rely heavily on regenerative braking to slow the downward progression in a canyon. And there's not an alternative to that right now, where a diesel bus has a special gear to do that. So we're just not comfortable putting loads of people on an electric bus going down a long haul. They do fine, like up at the university or in kind of more the lower land areas, but they just haven't met the threshold that we would look at this point.
Okay, so we're not there yet for the canyon application, but I think the more experience we have with the technology in general will help us get there.
And then part of the challenge too is having the amount of power up the canyon to charge those buses on a fast charge. That's also a limitation too.
Okay.
But it looks like Carlos probably has a more authoritative response.
Thank you, Carlton.
Madam Chair, can I?
Sorry, I was muted, even though I also tried to mention Mayor Zoltansky. Yes, Mr. Braceras, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, it's we're also High Valley Transit, who works up in the Park City area, just recently made a change. They had made a commitment to electric buses, and they're changing back to diesel buses because they're really struggling with the ability to operate them in colder temperatures. And so I think the technology is exciting, but it's not quite there yet.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlos. I appreciate the update.
Really good question. Thank you. Okay, Ben, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Trustee Carlton and Mr. Carlos. So the next project we have is in Weber, Morgan, Summit. This is I-84 that goes from the Uinta Junction up to the Echo Junction Bridge or Railroad Bridge. So back in 2024, UDOT was successful in the award of a bridge planning grant to elevate the condition and the needs of 40 bridges on I-84 up through this canyon. The efforts associated with that work will define and prioritize the phased approach to implement the recommendations. UDOT is now in the process. They've submitted for the fiscal year 2025 bridge project grant to implement the first phase of the recommendations from this bridge planning grant. This project will be included in bridge replacements, deck replacements, rehabilitation to address the most critical needs in the important corridor. This project is contingent on the receival of, or the successful receival of, this grant. There'll be an $18 million match onto this grant once received. That brings us to the next table that we have. First project there is a statewide study. This is a request from UDOT. They're requesting funding to conduct a high-level feasibility study of passenger rail routes in Utah. This study will also prepare information that would help support a potential future application to Federal Rail Administration's Corridor Identification and Development Corridor Grant Program. The request is for $350,000. Total project funding is $350,000. The next project is a project that's contingent upon the successful grant award. This is to do a study that'll take a high-level look at the opportunities for improvements to urban cloverleaf interchanges. Is an example of a cloverleaf interchange here at I-215 and SR-201. Focus area of the study will be on I-15 and I-215 corridors. And again, the implementation of this project will be contingent upon the successful grant award. This project here is estimated at, or for $500,000 with the grant there of $2 million. So 2.5 is the total project cost.
I can't find it. Let's see.
The next project we have to look at is a project in Salt Lake. This is for bridge improvements. This is a bridge on 200 East over Mill Creek in South Salt Lake. This project will replace the locally owned bridge carrying the 200 East over Mill Creek in South Salt Lake. During the design, it was determined that the existing opening under the structure was insufficient for the hydraulic need. So in order to address this, the roadway needs to be raised, which will cause additional roadway and drainage work tie into the adjacent intersection. This structure is not on the federal aid highway system, therefore no local agency match is required, and it will be funded with the Bridge Formula Program, federal funds. South Salt Lake is in support of the increasing the project value.
Oh, okay, I do see it.
The next project is a project in Salt Lake City. This on West Valley. This is on 3650 South. It's an important collector for West Valley City. It's their intermodal hub. This facility is connected to the light rail, bus rapid transit, and traditional bus routes. It's also the planned terminus of the future Mid-Valley Connector, the BRT. This project will reconstruct and improve the roadway geometry for all the users, vehicles, buses, pedestrians, and bicyclists. Safety will be improved with the addition of sidewalks and enhanced mid-block pedestrian crossings, along with addition of roadway lighting. Bike lanes will be added to the roadway, providing a link between 3200 West and 2700 West, which are both regional bike corridors. The request is to increase the funding as a result of additional right-of-way cost, design, construction, engineering services, construction material, as well as inflation. The request is to add an additional $1.25 million of urban STP funds, with West Valley City bringing $1.6+ million for a total project funding of 10.9 plus million. That brings us to our last table that has the last 4 board modifications before us today. First project is in Salt Lake. This is a Salt Lake City project on 1300 East between 2100 South to the southern city boundary, which is approximately 3300 South. This will reconstruct pavement, including shoulders, curb gutter, and sidewalks. In this project, there's a 70-year-old curb and gutter that'll be replaced. The pipe driveway approaches will be replaced. It'll improve the street cross slope. It'll reduce the future street maintenance costs and improve street appearance, as well as driver and pedestrian safety. If you were to go online, they are far enough along in the project there that they have preliminary plans for the facility that they're seeking input. The city's also recently replaced a lot of sidewalk in the area, as well as accessibility ramps. They've added intersection pedestrian countdown timers, push buttons, and installed mid-block high-intensity activated crosswalk or hawk signals. And all the intersections will be evaluated for potential ITS or intelligent transportation system upgrades. It is requested that we add 3.3 million of Salt Lake City funds to this project. And I wanted to point out that why is this project only getting the city portion and none of the federal funds that are currently? Well, in the last go around, knowing that this project was going to require additional funding, Salt Lake City requested additional funds through the TIP process. And so in our last, if you'll recall, in August, you approved 3.5 million additional funds for this project, which gives the project a total amount of a little more than $11 million for this project improvement. Salt Lake City's just bringing the remaining 3.3 million forward so the project can advertise. The next project we have is a project in Weber County. This is in Ogden. This is on Grand Mercy Avenue over the Ogden River. This is to replace a locally owned bridge. Initially assumed foundation type had to be changed in order to avoid the significant cost and the time delays associated with relocating overhead power lines, which you can kind of see in this picture here. This structure is not on the federal highway system. Therefore, no local match is required. It'll also be funded with the Bridge Formula Program funds. And Ogden City is in support of increasing the project value. So the additional funds adding to this project is $600,000, bringing the total project amount to 3.9 million. The next project we have to look at is in Davis County. This is a UTA Clearfield. This is the Clearfield City TOD or transportation or transit-oriented development pedestrian bike facility. This will provide on-road connections to the Freeport Center, which is nearly 2 miles. This new facility would provide a crucial bike ped link between a major transportation investment and a very large economic development or a job center for Clearfield and Davis County as a whole. Now, you may remember this years ago, back in 2016, this project was approved, and it initially was going to be a bridge over the railroad. Everything was in line, things were lining up. And in this particular area is where the route would be, and that blue rectangle represents the structure that would go over the rail and would touch down on the west side of the tracks. And in there where the yellow circle would enable the users then to be able to distribute through the Freeport Center wherever they were headed. However, the owner of this particular facility here had different plans that would not align with the construction of a structure through there. So UTA and Clearfield went to bat. They put together a plan that would put a surface trail on and around the facility. And that would enable additional connections to existing alternative transportation routes, ped and bike trails. It's requested that we add an additional 553,000 plus in CMAQ funds. The local would bring an additional 40,000, giving us a total project cost of $3.9 million. The last project we have to look at is a project in Weber County. This is a project in Riverdale. This is a roundabout on Ritter Drive. What this does, this project will transform a 5-legged intersection into a roundabout intersection, reducing the points of conflict and improving safety for all the users, whether it's a vehicular or pedestrian or bicyclist. The request, or when this project was reviewed and improved back in 2017 by the Regional Council, they approved the full requested amount of $576,000. Now with increase in construction cost, as well as some right-of-way needs and additional improvements in the design, they're requesting that an additional $244,000 of CMAQ funds be programmed. The local will bring an additional $60,000 to the project, giving us a total project cost of $939,000 plus. And that would be all of the projects before us in this board modification.
Thank you, Ben. Council, are there any questions or other comments for Ben? Seeing none, Madam Chair, I would move that we approve the modifications to the 2025-2030 TIP.
I'll second that.
I'll second that, Harvey.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. And who's the one keeping track of that? Is that Rosie who's keeping track of that?
Yeah.
Team's got it.
All right, got it. Just making sure. All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion to that motion? I think there's none. Okay. Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor of adopting the resolution to modify the 25 through 30 Transportation Improvement Program as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Ben, that's a lot of work. You and your team are working really hard. Mayor, we appreciate your work and your team. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right, item 6. Well, really quickly, I just want to welcome Mayor Phippen from Far West, Laura Hansen from the Governor's Office, Beth Holbrook and Carlton Christensen with UTA have all joined us. If there's anyone else that I've missed since I wrote those down. We have Dave Mon on with us now. I don't see anybody else new. I just wanted to point those out and welcome you and thank you for being here.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. I didn't know we had any of them too. Sorry.
Okay. All right, and now item 6, our budget committee. We have Councilmember Amy Winder Newton. We appreciate you chairing the budget committee and we'll turn to you for that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we have 2 action items from the Budget Committee for the Council today. We'll start with item 6A, which is the public hearing and action to approve the fiscal year 25 budget amendments. As you know, each year in October, WFRC amends its budget to reflect the final financials from the previous year, and also to include projects that were budgeted in the previous year but were not completed prior to the end of that year and were carried forward to the current fiscal year. This is a routine action which reflects that many of our WFRC projects are multi-year in nature. And so this proposed amendment reflects those carry forward projects. The details on the budget amendments were included in the meeting packet, and the WFRC Budget Committee reviewed these proposed amendments and recommends their approval. If you have any questions or would like any more details, we have both Andrew and Marianne, our CFO, who are happy to help. So Marianne, do you have anything you want to add?
Thank you for that introduction. That's exactly what we're doing, this routine action that we do every October, where we carry forward for the projects that are multi-year in nature. And it's mostly in our Transportation and Land Use Connection TLC program and in our station area planning. So I wanted to note that, and also to note that there are many lines that do not have any changes, notably our personnel line and our member contributions line. So if you, as you said, all of those materials are in the packet, and if you peruse those, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
All right, seeing no questions, I would move that we open a public hearing to discuss amending the fiscal year 25 budget.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilmember Amy Winder Newton. Is there a second?
Jeff Silvestrini, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are now going to open the public hearing on amending the fiscal year 25 budget. I am just going to scroll back and forth between my screens. I'm not seeing anyone. If you'd like to speak, please put your hand up. Andrea, do you see anyone?
No, there are no hands.
Okay.
With that, I will move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Great. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right. Thank you. We'll turn it back to you, Councilwoman.
Thank you. So unless there's any other questions or comments from the members of the council, now would be a great time for you to speak up if you have any. And I don't see any more. So I would move to approve the fiscal year 25 budget amendments as proposed.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve this. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Who do we choose on that one? Who did we take? Who could you guys hear the best? I think I heard Jeff and Carlton.
I always defer to a mayor, so.
Give it to Carlton.
Okay. A second to Mayor Silvestrini then. Okay. All right. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you.
All right, and then if you're good, I'll go to item 6B. This is another action item. We need acceptance of the WFRC audit report for fiscal year 24. I'm pleased to report that after careful review of the finances, compliance with state and federal regulations, and internal controls, our external auditors issued an unqualified opinion with no findings or question costs. So we're really happy with that. The audit was reviewed in detail by the auditor, and the budget committee voted to accept the audit report. A copy of this report is included in your meeting packet as well. Marion, our CFO, John Hatterley, our independent auditor from Larson & Company are here if anyone has any questions on the audit. All right, I don't see anyone. So I will go ahead and motion that the council accepts the fiscal year 24 audit report.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion to this? An audit doesn't really get better than this. We're grateful for that. All right, all in favor of accepting the fiscal year 24 audit report, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. That passes.
Thank you. That completes our budget committee report.
Great. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thank you to everyone involved. Mr. Hatterley, thank you for being here. Appreciate your work in the budget committee, the extra time. And Marion, as always, thank you. All right, item 7, we have our active transportation committee report. We're going to ask Mayor Joy Petro. She is the vice chair of the active transportation committee, and she chaired the meeting last week, and appreciate you being here. And Mayor Petro, take it away.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor Ramsey. So luckily on the active transportation, we do not have any actionable items, but we have some items that we need to update everybody on. First off, as many of you know, and hopefully participated in, was the recent Connect Community Summit that was held in Provo. This event was a collaboration between Move Utah, which is a UDOT program, Get Healthy Utah, and Bike Utah. It brought together the professionals of the transportation, our health, and all the advocacy sectors for fostering and collaboration, learning on how to make our communities healthier, more active, and more available to accommodate the mobility needs of all of our neighbors. So it was a great turnout, and we appreciate everyone that participated in that. Next up is our Utah Trails Network update, otherwise known as UTN. This is established a statewide vision network based on local engagements, activities about the UTN, our local active transportation plans, and the trail projects that are in the WFRC Regional Transportation Plan. So feedback on what routes should be part of the statewide network will be sought through in a series of engagements of events throughout the state, starting, like we said, next week. Or I guess there was one this past week, and running through early 2025. But please watch for more information about these events in your area. And as a reminder, the Utah Trail Network will be like the interstate highways when it comes to biking and walking. So it's a great way for all of us to connect our cities and be able to have alternative transportation within the not just Wasatch Front here, but throughout the state. So local and regional trails make up the necessary connections for people to get to their final destination. And that's the whole purpose of why we have our active transportation committees. And then lastly, as just a quick reminder, obviously the weather's changing. It does flip-flop a lot right now, but we know that it is going to get cold. And there are people that still like to walk and bike, excuse me. And I think they have their own little saying that there is no bad weather, there's just bad clothing. In other words, you get pretty drenched. But anyway, please remind all your staff and the community members that are about to take care of the maintenance within these areas for any of the active transportation infrastructure, which includes your sidewalks, any ADA ramps, bus stops that we've heard a lot about today, and obviously the trails. So with that, I just again want to say thanks to everyone, and I'm happy to be a part of the Active Transportation Committee.
Thank you.
Mayor Ramsey.
Thank you so much for doing that. I saw Mayor Burton just beaming during that report. I think it's good. It's good stuff. Thank you.
He's probably one of those that has the bad clothing.
Hey,
we were
I have
we
a
were at
heat
an
on
event
my
together
bicycle.
downtown, and he left on his bike and I left in my car, and it makes me feel kind of, I was like, ooh, but also I'm just very impressed. So
yeah, it's good. And I'm excited myself. I'm excited about all of the coordination that's taken part on a statewide, as well as our regionals, on connecting all these alternative transportations. I think that you know, this is what Utah's about. When you say it's a Utah way, it's about keeping us healthy, taking care of the environment, and having alternatives for all of us to kind of get where we want to go.
And so, you know, I did talk to Public Works about sweeping the side of the street for the bicyclists. They kind of brushed it off.
another good one. Well done. That's good. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Item 7, our Active Transportation Committee. Oh no, that we are done with that. We are moving on. Item 7B, right? Our Wasatch Front Economic Development District update. Commissioner Frower, we appreciate your leadership and your willingness to help lead that effort. So we're going to turn it to you.
Great, thanks, Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity. Last week, the Wasatch Front Economic Development District held a very informative meeting. We do not have any action items this afternoon, but I do have some updates I think will be of interest to the full committee. The first thing we've done over the last 2 or 3 months is a full review of the Economic Development District bylaws, interlocal agreements, and policies to make sure we're conforming with the full compliance and all applicable rules. Marcia White did a great job of making sure that we have all our ducks are lined up and we're in good standing with all the interlocals. We're doing some modest modifications to our membership just to ensure that the Economic Development District is bringing together really a broad representation of both public and private sectors. we really value our private sector members that come in and give information value for the sectors that they represent. We also had a discussion about the relationship between the Wasatch Choice Vision and economic development, and heard from several communities that are working to balance growth and development. We heard from several communities that are looking at the town centers that have become a very popular, really necessary element to move forward with the Wasatch Vision. We heard from the Kim C. Gardner Policy Institute about the economics of the Olympics. We look back at 2002, some of us remember that, and we're looking ahead to 2034. Just a little bit of information that may come as a surprise to some, as the 2034 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games are projected to bring approximately $2.6 billion in net new revenue direct expenditures to Utah, and generate an estimated total of $6.6 billion in industry output. This is actually less than the economic impact of the 2002 games, which in constant dollars were $3.1 billion in new net direct expenditures and $7.5 billion in industry output. And really that's good news, because the reduction reflects Utah's readiness of the 2034 games with all our venues and related infrastructure in place, and they continue to be maintained in a very aggressive and beneficial manner. So we can thank the state for their efforts to make sure that those venues don't go into disrepair, and therefore the reduction in economic impact. So, Madam Chair, that is my report. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions? That's a great report. Thank you. Good information. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks. All right, item 7C. We're going to turn to Andrew Gruber. He's got some cool things to share. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Mayor Ramsey. I'll just be brief. And normally I like to say that what I get to do today is one of my favorite things, which is recognizing staff for their milestones of service with WFRC. And first, I want to note that because we're doing this meeting virtually, I'm actually going to not recognize today two of our staff, because they deserve to be recognized in person at our January meeting. But just as a preview, Jory Johnner has been with WFRC for 25 years, and Ben Wuthrich has been with WFRC for 30 years. So you get it. I'm not doing that here virtually. We'll do that at the council meeting in person next month. So yes, for virtual clapping, they deserve it. So now
you have to have ice cream in January if you're going to do that.
Yes, sir. Duly noted for Ben. But does he have to serve it also? If does he have to make Sundays? No. Okay. And then,
well, if Ben's going to serve ice cream, Jory could sing in January. We understand that's a thing.
Gentlemen, you've heard from the chair, or the orders have been given. Okay, and now
it's usually
I'm feeling a little sick in January. Sorry.
Okay, and then I said there's one other person I want to recognize, and I said normally I love doing this, and I'm happy and sad also to be doing this. I'm going to recognize Lauren Victor. Now Lauren, where's Lauren? She's on here somewhere. Yeah. Lauren, say hi so you pop up so people can see you.
Hi.
Okay, there you go. Lauren Victor is celebrating her 5 years with WFRC, and she's our lead transit planner. Now, Lauren started at WFRC as an intern and has grown into a really terrific professional as a planner. She's knowledgeable, she's effective. She has developed real skills as a planner and also technical knowledge and expertise, but also beyond that has really grown into building real relationships of trust with UTA, with our other partners, with many of you that have worked with Lauren, and is just a terrific member of our long-range planning team. Maybe you get where I'm going. Unfortunately, just after getting to her 5 years, Lauren is going to be leaving WFRC. She's actually going to be moving back to Minnesota, to Minneapolis, where she's from. We thought that we might have our hooks in deep enough that us and Utah, that she would stay here permanently, but the pull of being with her family is too strong, and we understand that. We're not happy about it, Lauren, but we understand that. So Please join me in thanking Lauren for her 5 years of service with WFRC. Now, she's not leaving immediately. She's going to be around for a little while. Some of you know she's working on key projects like the South Salt Lake County Transit Fresh Look and other things. She's going to continue doing some of those things to see them out. Mayor Ramsey, unless anybody has anything else that they want to ask me to talk about, that concludes my report.
Thank you. It's a bittersweet report, and Lauren, we will miss you. We will miss you. We've had the opportunity to work on a lot of things together and to try to figure out a lot of hard things together. Just really appreciate you. You will be missed. Minneapolis is a great place. Minnesota is a great place, and being close to family is the greatest part of that. So if you can talk your whole family into moving here, great. Otherwise, yeah, we'll miss you. Thank you. All right. Item 8, we have some just quick other business. Our WFRC 2025 yearly meeting schedule. Invitations are going out next week to hold the dates, so we all know in advance when those are. And can I just say thank you for that, because that is not how it works everywhere. Not everywhere sends out their meeting invitations far in advance, and it's haphazard and it's here and there, and it's just never consistent, and it's hard. That is hard for everyone who's a part of groups like this to be part of. This just makes it really nice. We'll all know when they are. That is super helpful. So they'll be sent out next week.
Mayor, I'll echo that by just saying our organizational operations team is top notch. They do a great job. So thanks, guys. And we'll send out the calendar invitations based on the committees and council that you're serving on now. And then if any modifications are made through that process in January, we will do updates at that point.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Once again, thanks to everyone for being here, and thanks to the nominating committee for your future work. And unless anyone has anything else, you can go ahead and unmute and pipe up. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I do have one quick thing, Madam Chair.
Please.
On Tuesday night, Andrew Gruber and Byron Head came to Sandy City Council and presented on the city planning tools and these new modeling tools that WFRC has designed. And we were just undergoing our whole general plan review. In fact, we presented the draft to the city council, so they've just taken it up on Tuesday. It was so timely and so useful to us to have that very consumable, structured framework that is adaptable to a city like Sandy, where our growth is infill growth and redevelopment, but it can just as easily be applied to new growth areas. So I encourage everyone on the committee to study that and really take advantage of that in your planning stages. It helped us immensely, and it also helped our residents to hear it. It's very consumable. Planning can be, vision setting, but it has a lot of technical attributes. It goes through all the different types of city centers and the hallmarks of them, so that you, are assured that you're not missing something that's crucial to that characteristic that you want to create in your city. So highly recommend it. Thank you, Andrew and Byron. You did a great presentation on Tuesday.
Thanks for that update, Mayor. That's awesome. That's great. Thank you.
Very helpful.
Anyone else have anything?
I'll move
okay.
to adjourn.
I'm going to let staff figure out who they want to credit with what. We had quite a few. I heard Commissioner Perry, and there was someone else. I couldn't. Okay, we'll give that motion to Commissioner Perry. Who was the other one?
I think I was. I'll second that.
Okay, great. We'll give a second. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Absolutely.
Aye.
All right, this motion is adjourned with the note that it is 2:56 p.m. and no one has to commute. You are welcome, and that means please attend your Wasatch Choice Vision workshop in person. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.